Hey y'all, my name's Megan. I'm a homeschool mom of two, and welcome to my channel. Listen, there's no dance break today because I have got something I want to show y'all. So wait for it, hold on. Oh, it's not a mustache. I know that you're disappointed, but do believe that mustaches will of course be returning to this channel at some point in time. Okay, let me show you. You guys, look at what my mom got me for Christmas. Yeah, it's a coffee mug with my very own YouTube catchphrase on it. Like, am I famous now? Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. You guys, I know, I understand, okay? But do note that this might not be the only vanity mug that I own. Like, maybe there's more. In today's video, I am going to share with y'all our plans for the month of January. Yeah, that's right. This month, the one that's happening right now, okay? I'm gonna tell you like what we're doing. Mainly because it was a reason, making this video was a reason for me to actually sit down and figure out what it is we are doing this month. So just from being around on Instagram and the homeschool mom community, I have seen that so many of you guys are already getting back to it. And that is awesome. Fabulous. Wish I could have done it. If you don't know, now you know that I had COVID at the end of Christmas and was in COVID isolation, stuck in my in-laws' house, but now I am free, feeling great and back in my own home in the great state of Indiana. But listen, we actually will not be getting back to work in terms of homeschool really until mid-January. And that is because my husband is actually off work until then. So I'm very, very, very fortunate, and we're really just taking this time to take a break, clean every room, declutter, right? And get ready for our spring homeschool term. I am so lucky and absolutely grateful to have this really big chunk of time to kind of shake off the rut that I think a lot of us can get into in homeschool and traditional schools at this time of year. It's also been awesome to just be able to really like put my attention towards the future in the spring semester and get things ready for like an extended period of time, not just like, what are we doing next week? I don't know. So I already mentioned that we've been decluttering, we have been cleaning, switching rooms around, all of that kind of stuff. But just kind of like typical homeschooler fashion, we never actually really let go of learning. It's really part of our DNA, right? That's all humans. But I think homeschooling families as well, we always have kind of like our eye on that. And what we've been focusing on in terms of school leading up to, like I said, mid-January when we officially begin, we've really been doing two things. The first thing is we have been focusing on spending time outside, and considering that we live in northern Indiana where winters can be incredibly harsh, I'm pretty proud of us for getting everyone in their snowsuits and getting on out there. And honestly, this time of year is so great to be outside with the snow. It's like glittery and pretty, and you can see all the little animal prints in the snow. It's actually quite charming to be outside until you're freezing. Ugh. To facilitate this goal, we have joined the 1,000 Hours Outside Initiative Challenge. I'm not sure how to reference that, but it is a movement started by Jenny, who is a mother as well, and it is a kind of a push to counteract the screen time that we definitely know our kids are absorbing, right? Constantly coming into their little eyeballs. So it's just a push and a reminder to set that intention to get outside. What I really like about the 1,000 Hours program, and I'm going to list that below the website, is that there are all kinds of ways that you can track your progress towards that 1,000 hours. There's even an app on the phone, which I will probably end up getting. But in the meantime, you can go onto the website. There's tons of little, very cute, like coloring pages, and I'll show you the one that I'm using right now. All right, so this is, of course, a free PDF off of her website, and it tracks the first 100 hours. So for each hour you spend outside, you color in a little circle until it makes kind of this sun pattern. And I thought this was really cute and a way to break it into smaller chunks and maybe really celebrate that first 100 hours, right? Breaking it into smaller pieces so that my 7-year-old and 3-year-old don't just get overwhelmed by the 1,000 in the title. So we've already gone on hikes. We're planning on doing some geocaching with friends later on this week. We're just trying to really push ourselves to get out there. So all right, the second thing that we are focusing on while my husband is still off work is that we are working on teaching our 7-year-old and our 3-year-old to a certain extent the games that I have got for us to use this term. I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little bit more about this, but I am trying some game schooling philosophies this spring term. And while in quarantine isolation, I may or may not, definitely did, go a little bit crazy on my online shopping. I did a huge book outlet purchase, which I did an unboxing of while in isolation. You can see that video linked below. But I also purchased a ton of games. And I purchased them specifically for certain content areas. But I thought it would be best if while my husband is off and we're in this kind of transitional period and break, if we really learned the rules and practices of each game, while we could do that in a setting as a family, where maybe there's a little bit more patience than if it was just me and the kiddos. So each night we're choosing a game and just stepping through those rules and procedures, right? Kind of having our practice games, if you will. I think it will be so much better and easier going this spring if the kids have already seen the games and they've had mom and dad's perspective to teach them. I also thought kind of the big bonus to this would be that my husband is also learning how to play those games so that when he gets home in the evenings, if I need a moment or maybe we still need to, we have that feeling that we need to get in a little bit more education, he's prepared to do that as well, right? It's a way to incorporate my partner in this educational process. And they don't always get to be a part of that. And you know what? They want to be, right? At least I hope that's the case. And I think this is just a way to get the whole family's buy-in on some game schooling. So come about the third week of January is when we'll really kind of put pencil to paper and get after it. And it's going to be such a busy week to get started back into academics. At the beginning of that week, we have got Martin Luther King Day as well as a new moon, the wolf moon, to look at. Something else kind of fun that I've done this month is I looked through all of like the national days that are for January. You know how there's always like National Sock Day or Donut Day or whatever. So I looked through those and I just picked one that I thought would be easy to accomplish and might hold our interest a little bit, and that's going to be National Popcorn Day. So we're going to be looking into that. We have one of those old-timey popcorn poppers that you put on the stove and like crank the handle, and I thought the kids could get really into that, and maybe we could watch a movie, kind of snuggle, right? Something to look forward to, because when I was sitting down to really put the meat on the bones of January's calendar, I was like, oh, woof, there is not a lot going on, and it's kind of this stimulation fallout that occurs after the holiday season, which was just so much and so go, 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 and that's great, but I also want to be able to bring in little moments of celebration just kind of to our regular days, and doing something like National Popcorn Day, y'all already have all of that stuff together. It can be something that's really, really easy to plug in to whatever we've got going on. We are also looking to do a lot of letter writing practice this month. As we get into January, or moreover the winter time, that really becomes our academically heavy, however heavy that can get for a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. It's really our academically heavy season of homeschool because it is so cold that we can't always go outside. And geographically being where we are, you guys, isn't that it's just cold? It's also that it can be incredibly windy. There could be snow, sleet, rain. It's just gray. I am a firm believer in getting the right clothes and the right equipment to get outside, but there's some hills like I'm not gonna climb. You know what I mean? So I tried to make these months when we really turn inward, when we really allow ourselves to hibernate, kind of come into the home and get busy. And so just like I did with December, I've kind of planned too much in hopes that we never run out. We're really like keeping at bay that sort of cabin fever that can kind of take over this time of year. So yes, we are entering into a way more like academic rich season, but I know that we're going to have to do that with like a gentleness, okay? Especially, I don't know about you guys, but my kiddos had a lot of grandparent time this year, especially with me being in quarantine isolation. And there's always like, I make the joke that there's like a withdrawal from grandparents, but it's true. The relationship between my kiddos and their grandparents, it's just different than mom and dad. Mom and dad maybe set a little bit more boundaries, you know what I mean? And that is something that the kids have to get used to again. So we're really just kind of easing back into that academically. And to help facilitate that, I have actually created something for myself to be using, and we'll see, but I am going to share it with you guys. So I've put together kind of a new planning system for this year. Like, go figure, right? Who was out there buying planners? Psych, I didn't buy a planner. I took what I already had, which is the absolutely wonderful planner that Megan made from Schoolnest. I am for sure linking that below, as well as my video where I flipped through that. But I took that one. And if you had seen any of my Instagram videos, images, then you would know that when I went and got that planner coiled or binded, they put this huge coil on the planner. So I actually snipped through that, took all of the pages of the planner out, kind of put them together in a way that made sense for me, and then added in some stuff that I needed. And I'm going to show you guys that now. All right, so I'm going to give you a little inside look at this binder that I created to hopefully help push us towards a more organized 2022. Okay, here it is from the outside. It's like not very exciting. This will probably change, but anyways. So the first thing that I put into this binder was just a calendar that I put together for the month of January, Monday through Friday. And this was just a basic thing to show like, oh, here we have birthdays and MLK Day and the new moon and reading, all of those things. But then I also went ahead and put in some goal sheets. Whether or not we'll actually use them, I don't know. I'm kind of using the month of January as like an experimental month to figure out what I'm actually going to continue to use for this binder. Now, here's where I took out the sheets from my Schoolnest planner and put them together. So I did keep our weeks. I love this page. This is where I put in like our daily schedule based off of hours, and I mainly keep that for appointments. And I've also included the weekly plan section from the Schoolnest binder or the Schoolnest planner. But I'm actually not going to use this to do lesson plans. I'm going to use this to backwards plan so I can kind of see what we actually did and get a better, like a broader in view of our actual homeschool and the education that my kiddos are receiving. Okay. So what did I do that was different? Well, I've actually decided to plan by months because it works really well for me to have an open and go sort of situation. And so that's why doing like Monday, here's what we're going to do. Tuesday, here's what we're going to do. That just does not work for me. So I put together these kind of like goal sheets for each subject. And it's a goal for each month as to what we're going to do. So for example, I put this one together for readings. They all look the same. But I put in here like reading, the month is January, and then I've left a space to put like a word for that subject for the month. And for me, this month with reading, it's consistency, because we really need to get better at sitting down and having Winnie Mae read to me every single day, or at least every single school day. And then I put the subject focus. the things that we're going to be working on specifically. So that includes starting our reading lessons with Grandma back again, finishing our Bob Sight word books that we just kind of have laying around, and then also to create a daily reading practice. Again, that consistency. So those are my subject focuses or goals. And then of course I put a section for books so that I can put, I put on this side, I think you guys can see that there, books. And then I listed out the actual things that we need to do. So like our reading lessons on the days we're going to have them, when we finish our first grade Bob books, when we finish our kinder ones, and then I want us to add at least 15 illustrations to Winnie Mae's rhyme journal. And I'm actually going to use this section here to track that, to track our progress. So I put that in for each subject, but I want to show you this when it comes to language arts. So the same thing with I am struggling to figure out where to put this for you guys so that it focuses. Okay, so I did the same thing for language arts. And this month for language arts, we are returning to our DART program, which we took a break from in December. And we are catching up on the December book, which is Heartwood Hotel, which I just know that Winnie Mae is going to go crazy for this book, which is, of course, a little story about a hotel inside of a tree that's for animals. And it is a book that centers on friendship and centers on kindness, like all things that we need more of, I'm sure. And so in addition to putting on there that our subject focuses are to finish Heartwood Hotel, complete at least 2 dictations, because we are only doing official school those last 2 weeks in January, and then to write birthday cards for Aunt Adrian and Nana. I did print out and put my DART programming right behind that sheet. So anything that required actual instructional materials, I just placed behind the subject divider. So I'm thinking this is going to work really, really well for us, because it is one of those things where I can just look at our monthly to-do list of what we need to do for each subject and just cross them off. And I love a good to-do list. I like to take those to-do lists and turn them into to-done lists. All right, and this is the last one that I'll show you guys, because I'm not really even done going through each subject, but I did go ahead and do science, because we have decided we've landed on really for now doing the core knowledge science curriculum, because it's free, it's really well structured, and it's free. So we are gearing towards that as our secular curriculum for now. So I did, of course, fill it out of what I wanted us to get done. And then I just printed out the pages from the guides that we're going to need. And then I was able to say, put my little marker as to what I specifically wanted to use in that printout curriculum. I'll do a review of core knowledge, maybe after we've done it for 6 weeks or so, to see how we are liking it. I got lots and lots of supplemental science materials recently that I'm putting in there to really give some juicy bits to what we're doing. But I like that core knowledge is really a roadmap that we can use. I will say this. I find it to be very easy to go through the core knowledge curriculum because I am a former public school teacher, so I'm very used to seeing that sort of formatted breakdown. But it is a lot of fluff or standard listing that you don't really need as a homeschooler. So you do have to kind of sort through it. That's me sorting. And it is designed for classroom setting, but it's so easy to adapt to what you have going on in your homeschool. So our first little unit that we're going to look at is the sun and the moon and stars, which I think is a really fun one to start, especially this time of year when our evening skies are so absolutely clear. And we will be starting school back on the same day of Wolf Moon. So it'll be a new moon, and it'll be a great time to kind of dive into this lesson. Oh, and also the core knowledge curriculum, it is linked off of grade level. And you can purchase print it out, but why would you when it's free otherwise? Okay, so I'll let you guys know how that goes. All right, you guys, I'm really excited to dive into January and get back to business and kind of turn inward for a more academic focus as we travel through our spring term. Are you guys back to school yet? What you doing? Tell me all the things down below, right? Or you can follow me on Instagram and message me over there, as well as follow me to see what we're doing. If we actually hold me accountable, you guys. Put my little feet to the fire as to whether or not we actually do the things we say we're going to do. And I'll let you know how my new binder turns out. I just needed something that's for the gal who's like, I really like to plan, but I also like to light it all on fire. So I think that's what I've maybe created. Anyways, you know what I'm gonna say, don't you? Is it perfect? No, baby. And I was never gonna be. But is it done? Yeah. For today, it is. And you know what? 2021, done. So until next time, bye.